Welcome to my next video as part of my 30 videos in 30 days challenge. And in today's video, we're going to talk about once you move out and start to figure out your own way, everything changes. Now, I'm going to start with a story about myself to explain to you how moving out and not allowing for your parents to pay the whole way for everything that you're doing in life can start to change your life for you so that you can become more responsible. So when I was in my mid-20s, I still lived with my parents and I had work in my local small community. But what staying there did for me, it was not doing me any favors because I didn't have rent to pay. I didn't have food to pay. So everything that I was making, I was using on bad habits. And living with them and them paying for everything that I needed in life was enabling me to stay stuck, to stay living that way, to not have the responsibility to pay for what I need in life, to pay for rent or my own home and to put money aside for my future. I was living there, and all of the money I had coming in, I would use to buy weed with and buy alcohol so I could drink on any night of the week I wanted when I didn't have to work the next day. And even on the nights I did work the next day, I'd be doing drugs, smoking weed, and drinking at my friend's place in the basement next door. And then I'd drive home, and then I'd go to work the next morning. It was not a good life. So when I took the steps to move out of my dad's and mom's home, to move to Sydney, which is the closest, biggest city away from the small community I grew up in Arishat, Nova Scotia. I moved out of there to Sydney. I'd met a girl, and once I was with her, me and her wanted to get our own place. So when I moved out of my parents' place, I had to start to put money aside, and then I started learning money management skills. At the time, I still had a job as a lobster fisherman, and then I would go on what we call up in Canada here POGI and unemployment for the other 9 months of the year. But I developed the putting money aside skills that I had to develop, and I would never have developed that staying in my dad and mom's basement, just spending all I had on gas and going for drives around the community just to be able to smoke weed and then come back and just watch TV. How much purpose did I have back then? How much passion? I wasn't even playing drums anymore. I didn't have the music involved. I'd go around and listen to music, but I would just smoke weed, hang out at my friend's place, and complain and place blame on others. Just complain about the community. I was not in an energetic, positive flow state like I talk about nowadays on my videos. I was really in a low and dark place at the time. So the step I took of moving out of my parents' place and moving to Sydney, and started with renting an apartment for a few years with the girl I was with at the time. And eventually it led to me realizing that I was good enough with money that I can take a chance on myself and purchase a mini home, a trailer in a trailer park. And that's where I lived for many years. I lived in the trailer park in Sydney. And I'm not saying that having financial assistance from our parents is a bad thing. That's not what enables us. It's the staying home in a room and letting them pay for everything and us not taking responsibility for everything that enables us to stay stuck and to think that we don't have to do anything more or over and above where we currently are right now. I can just stay here because my dad's covering everything for me. So why would I want to take a trade or study in a program when I can just stay living in the basement and get high and do hard drugs on any night of the week that I want. Because I have the money in my bank account to do it. I had to make the change. I had to realize what I was doing to myself was not doing me any favors. And meeting this woman in Sydney, well, the universe sent me a message that it was time to move out. So I moved to Sydney, started with the apartment, and then eventually I got the mortgage. I was accepted for the mortgage. My parents co-signed on it. And nowadays, here in 2024, I have the home completely paid for, and I still have that same home, as I purchased a piece of property outside of Sydney, and I had the home transported out of that trailer park to the land you can see here where I'm filming videos at, either in my gazebo or my garage. But I had to take the steps to move out of my dad's and mom's place to start to have a better head on my shoulders. And then I got more involved with music again. My drive and passion for life was reignited. Because I wasn't just staying home and smoking weed and drinking alcohol and doing drugs. And I left that life behind when I moved out of Arishat and came to Sydney. And that was a step one towards me building the character that I am today. And then the second step was that I wasn't just going to do seasonal work as a lobster fisherman and then be on Pogie all year. Because having all that time for myself all year was also another way of enabling me to either be lazy, stay stuck, not have a passion or purpose in life over and above working for 3 months, and then still being involved with, if I wanted to smoke weed and drink, well, I had the money to do that. I was a more responsible man by then, but I would still drink. I could afford to drink. I'm not telling you guys drinking is the worst thing. You're not a bad person for drinking. We were all there. I'm only going on 1 year completely sober now, and that's when I shifted into this version of myself that makes videos comfortably now. I am just myself. I am purely who I was meant to be. And that is running a personal development channel here and then a spiritual teacher. I help people by doing this. I have discovered my passions. But before I got to where I currently am today, I skipped a step here, is I went back to school. Well, school. I went to become a truck driver, a tractor trailer driver, like the 18-wheelers you see on the road. I took that 3-month program, and then I got the class 1 license with the program. I was well trained to be able to operate and drive the tractor trailers safely on the highway, and then the rest I learned on my own, being able to back up and dealing with the dispatch system within my trucking company. And that job, well, I still currently am that person right now, but I'm not stuck in that frequency of just a truck driver. See, when I talk about there are multiple versions of us that exist right here and now, look at the story I just explained to you and look at the frequency I was in when I lived with mom and dad down in Arishat, that could smoke weed whenever I wanted, that could drink every night of the week. It didn't matter because I didn't have any bills to pay for. To I shifted into a different frequency, and I became the person who's going to be responsible and take a trade or take a course of some sort. And I bought my own home, and then I had the monthly payments on that home and paid for all my groceries and just learned to live on my own. I didn't depend on my parents after that. I had some assistance if ever I hit rough patches, and I'm very grateful for my dad and mom for helping me get to where I'm at right here today, because they helped a lot of the way. They helped me be able to make payments when I would run short on money here and there, and just help me grow my character overall and become more financially stable to get into the position to buy a piece of land and move my home out here. So that's what happened, and I shifted into that frequency. And then the second frequency that I shifted into is to become the long haul truck driver that lives in Sydney, has his own home, but it's still a lot more responsible than I was in that first frequency. So the second frequency, I wasn't completely happy like I am right now, because I still hadn't discovered my real passion in life. To become a teacher, to become a creator on film, on video. Now I can make the videos whenever I want, whenever I have time. I'm making them here on my back deck in my yard. I'm making them in my truck. I've given myself permission to be a successful full-time YouTuber, to speak on whatever I feel like speaking about. I can just be myself without the fear and worry of being judged. And if I do get judged with negative comments, it doesn't bother me. I can look the other way. They don't affect or identify with who I am as a person. That's just people who are bored and there's something about themselves that they don't like, so they gotta come on our channels and judge us. But look at that second frequency. I came a long way. I figured out my own way. I got my own home. I went and took a program to become a truck driver. I'm still doing that right now, but I've discovered other passions, other purposes. I got hired to be the drummer in a full-time cover band that plays every Saturday night of the whole year. Every weekend I have gigs to put more abundance. I started to meditate and feel abundance in my life, and then the universe presented me with a band to play in, which the universe knows how much I love to drum and how much I love people. I love to perform for people. I love to make content for people. Being in service of you guys and of others when I'm playing in bands or I'm making videos like this, it brings me love. This is where I feel energetic flow go in and out. I don't have to think about who I am. I am being it. I am being the full-time YouTuber that makes a video every single day, especially right now during this 30-day challenge. I've been loving doing this. You know, I talk about getting out of your comfort zone and just doing something that's stepping into the unknown. And when I first started, I know my videos sucked. And maybe I didn't like the way I spoke or sounded back then, but then I got better. As I kept doing it, the videos got better. I could speak and just be myself. And I stopped judging myself and started enjoying the content I was presenting. And now I don't have to edit a whole lot. I just do short edits. I basically give you guys the authentic content as it is, even with the mistakes. If there's mistakes here and there, don't bother me. I'll post it. But then let's get back to the frequencies I've tuned into. And this is where the quantum field exists, okay? I tuned into that second frequency as the truck driver, paying for my own home, and then I bought my own property out here, and I moved my home out here, and now I'm playing in a band, and then I've discovered my love for doing personal development content here on YouTube, and I made a channel for myself to be able to help others in the way that I've discovered my love and passion for life. And the energetic flow, the elevated states of mind and body that I'm in, it made me realize I don't need the booze. I don't need the weed. I can be completely sober. And this feeling that I feel right now while making this video is better than any big fat joint I used to smoke or any 6-pack of beer I used to have. Because what those things would do, they'd be temporary elevated states. But then by the next morning when I'd wake up, I'd feel back at a 1 or 2, and this is on a scale to 10. When we get high or drunk, we're at a 9.5 out of 10. But when you wake up the next day, you're at a 1.5 because you're hungover, you're dehydrated. Same with smoking weed. It puts you up in a high, but then you hit a low. Same could be said for caffeine, but I'm not quitting caffeine completely. I can still be a very spiritual being and very present within my own body without having to quit caffeine. But look at those two frequencies and look at the frequency of who I am right here and now on camera. And that is the frequency of the full-time YouTuber, Instagrammer, TikTok. I do it all. I do the shorts, I do the reels, I do the long form. I am myself purely. I am unafraid to be myself on camera. I am here to help you if creating videos is something that you want to do, or just create a business. That's what we're going to do here. I'm going to help you find the best version of yourself. And you can tell I'm passionate because my French accent comes out. And when my head starts bobbing like this, my wife says, I'm like my dad, because my dad used to be a school teacher. And when my head starts bobbing and the hands start going, you know Dale Landry means business. But that's where my accent comes from, is I'm an Acadian Frenchman from Cape Breton. I went to school in French from grade primary to grade 8. And then I went to high school in English. And I now live in communities where everything is all English. The only time I get to practice my French is when I'm up in Quebec with the transport company I work for. When I drive a tractor trailer, my trip is to go to Montreal every week. I go to Montreal and back to Sydney. I do roughly a 3 to 4 day run, and then I have 3 days off to work on my passions until I get the office job where I can be the fitness trainer that I've took the course for and the full-time YouTuber. But I'm not waiting for that. I'm a full-time YouTuber right now. So that is the frequency that I have tuned into. In the quantum, I've put trust in this life. I've put trust in who I am. And all of the good things that have led to where I'm at in this current moment are the signs when I speak of signs. Believing and changing your energy brings you all of the good things to help you change your life. And when you can start to realize that taking a chance on yourself is not a bad thing, like I took a chance on myself by moving out of my parents' place and going to Sydney. The rest has been history. But it took a good 14 years of work on myself to get to where I'm at now. And now there's no more dependency on my parents. I've got it all figured out. The abundance, I don't need money. I don't live like someone who lacks. I don't live in scarcity. When it comes to relationships, opportunities, or money, it just comes in naturally. I don't have money problems. I'm not saying this to brag. You will get there too by changing your energy and taking the steps and taking action. And when something is not working, change your approach. Let's say you're running a social media or a YouTube channel. If something's not working, change your approach. If something's not going right, change your approach. If the content you're creating is not good, it's not resonating, change your approach. Become better. Become the version of yourself that makes successful YouTube videos and tune into that frequency and then make the videos and then grow as a person, as a character. That's what this channel is about. We're going to elevate our vibration to that of above pride. We're not living in anger anymore and desire of things. We don't need or want. We are being. We are present. And start to work on that as soon as you can. I'm not telling you move out of your parents tomorrow, but smoking weed and drinking and doing hard drugs and stuff is a problem and you're living somewhere that somebody is enabling you. Well, the first step is to move out and to take a chance on yourself and be willing to live in the unknown And then the universe will start to give you signs and grant you wins. And you will start walking in the direction that you are meant to be in by discovering your passion and your purpose. I thank you for watching this one, and I feel free to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already.